Euphoria Season 2, Episode 7. What did you think?
I was a fan of this episode. I always appreciate when something interesting that I haven't necessarily seen before. I'm always giving props for that. But I was a fan of this episode. I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I was looking forward to the play for quite some time because we talked about this either last time or the time before, how much we love just bad high school theater. What I was surprised by was how good the high school theater was.
Yeah, and I thought they were gonna go the bad route at first because when they come out with the letters and they're like it's our life or whatever, and they drop one of them, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah,
it was not. The production value insane. I got some notes about the blocking and whatnot.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up also. Yeah, the blocking is a little questionable. I'm not sure how much the audience can hear some of the dialogue. There's a lot of whispers. And then on top of that, just the most expensive play, the most expensive senior project in the history of any high school. The sets are ridiculous and insane. Who cares though? But yeah, so this was all about the play, and it's just part 1 of 2. It's to be continued. I like this episode also. First of all, Maude Apatow is really good in this episode.
Shout out to Maude Apatow.
I forget the actor's name, but the actor who plays Ethan was really good in this episode.
Yeah, I think it's Austin Abrams.
That's right. And he has not they've been afraid to even give him close-ups all season. I figured that it was because he aged more visibly than the other actors.
But Ash aged a shit ton.
Ash did age, yeah, for sure. But so all season long, Ethan's been just in these weird wide shots with half of his face obscured by darkness. And so I was I wonder what's going on with that. And so in this episode, they finally give him some shine. And when he pops out as Cassie and Lexie's mom, and Cassie's mom is freaking out in the audience.
Dude, shout out to Suze.
She's hilarious. She's so funny in this episode. She's like, that's supposed to be me. That's supposed to be me. She just keeps tapping people on the shoulder. Let me ask you about the structuring of this episode.
Sure.
So they jump around with time, and by doing that, they split up the actual play. So how did that hit you?
I always think that non-linear storytelling is really interesting. And I thought what they did with having some of the scenes be with the actors in the play, then morph into scenes where it's the actual characters. There was a couple moments where I had questions about what they were doing when it's Rue and her mom were having that conversation, which I thought was a real, I enjoyed that scene, but I had questions about the placement of it in this episode because it wasn't part of the play.
Right.
There was no way that, unless Lexie's a spy,
right,
there was no way she would know that was going on. It was cool to watch the non-linear storytelling go on, because I think a lot of times people try to do that and it doesn't really work out, but I thought for the most part it did well in this episode.
Yeah, that scene did strike me also as wait, how is this related? And then there's a few scenes where Zendaya is narrating, and I was just how we're jumping back and forth quite a bit here.
I would have rather them just commit to the this is the play episode, and everything that's going on here is in the play, or is people reacting to the play in the audience.
Right. Let's go through the play a little bit. So we got Lexie early on with Rue at the funeral or the wake, and Rue starts doing drugs, and that Lexie talks about how that affects her, and all of that stuff was very nice. I was feeling I don't know if this is what I was expecting out of the play, because I thought it was just all going to be hot takes,
Yeah, it's all going to be hot takes.
It was just going to be Nate Jacobs is gay. I thought it was just going to be that.
We'll get to that. That's a crazy scene.
That was insane. But then, do you have anything to say on that, or should I keep going?
No, it was a sweet scene. Again, staging wise, blocking it from that perspective when you got a character's back to the audience doesn't make sense, but we're not here to nitpick this. It worked for the show. For the TV show, it worked.
At some point we go backstage. Now the backstage stuff, I got some thoughts about.
Okay.
All the backstage stuff is so cliche and stupid.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me, but I just felt it was the quality of the backstage stuff was beneath the show. It just feels like something that we've seen, we've been through, we've done. I don't know. I just didn't care for it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the backstage stuff. Did it bother you at all, or did you even think about it?
I mean, I was whatever. I'm I agree that was kind of cliche. I didn't think about it after that though.
It did make me think about all the tech cues though.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, all the lighting cues alone, and then the sets, just this was a behemoth to put on.
Right?
I want to know what the number of people involved in the show was.
Seems like a whole bunch of them.
Seems like the whole school, except for the people in the audience. Were involved.
Yeah, they had so many extras for that gay dance scene.
They got a ton of extras. They got people on lights. They've got Bobby. They've got Lexie, and
dude,
then
if you're
costume
like that
department.
vice principal person who she asked if she could put this play on, like, you're in trouble right now.
Yeah.
How was there no like faculty supervision about this?
Who like, how is this getting paid for?
Right.
Is it getting paid by the school, or is
they got a spinning set? And...
Yeah, they got a rotating set, dude. That was crazy. Anyways, none of this matters, but it's just like, it just makes me think.
Big high school theater fans.
So all that stuff's going on in the background. In the audience throughout this episode, we key in on Cassie, we key in on Nate, we key in on Rue, we key in on Sue, of course.
Suze. Shout out to Suze.
One thing that I felt was missing from not only this episode, but from the majority of this season is Jules.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like, she's not in this season very much. Like, she's a piece of one arc, the love triangle.
Which got like abandoned halfway.
Which now Dominic Fike's not even in the show anymore.
Pretty much.
Like, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was also what was interesting about like Lexie's narration of what Euphoria is because it doesn't include Jules whatsoever.
No.
And I think Jules is one of the most interesting characters on Euphoria. So of course she wasn't going to have a place in Lexie's version of the story. So she wouldn't be in this episode very much. Mm-hmm. But it just was sort of like, I miss Jules. I wish Jules was in the show more.
And then like the scene where like she and Rue are in the bathroom, like it feels like they've done this thing this year where they like have to include each character in at least one scene, like contractually almost.
And usually in that bathroom or whatever. Like it feels like that's what they did with Kat most of the year, which I saw a very funny tweet online where someone was like, damn, even Lexie wrote Kat out of her show. But yeah, no, I again, like more like greater episode or greater like season long issues I've had as opposed to like this episode here. Right. And real quick on Kat and talking about the audience reactions, I feel like they didn't play the audience reactions as much as I was expecting. Mm-hmm. When we do get Kat though and Maddie, I feel like they just don't even know what to do with Kat because like her now ex-boyfriend, who the last time we saw them together, she was being awful to and just basically ruined her character in that scene. The last time we saw her was then, basically. And so now he's on stage getting the biggest laughs and the biggest ovation during the big dance scene at the end. And she's just laughing along. Like she has nothing to say about this.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the audience reactions that I kind of wanted more was like, I feel like they could have had the characters say more about the show through those reactions, not literally verbally, but like just in their facial reactions. Kat's just laughing along, having a good time, and it feels like completely disconnected from where she was last time. Like I feel like a push in on her face as like everyone's laughing and like loving her ex-boyfriend. Maybe just a small push in of her being like, he is perfect and I still don't love him, but like good for him. You know, just something, because it felt like even in the reaction shots, she wasn't given her character. Like she's just sort of there.
Right.
That's sort of what I mean, but I wish there were more audience reactions. Notable missing reaction is Fez, who hasn't made it to the play yet.
No, something happened, obviously.
Something has happened. He's not gotten to the play. While the play's happening, or before the play's happening, Fez is getting ready. And
he's in a suit.
He's trying on ties. He has a super sweet line where he's like, do you think other people think I'm handsome?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing anyone's ever said. That's all building. I feel like they sort of strung it along a little bit. I can see the play being two parts, like splitting the play itself because it's so dense and there's so much to do into 2 episodes. But like all the other stuff surrounding it, I don't know if like it needed to be strung along this much.
I would have liked some sort of like cliffhanger maybe where we see like kind of what happens to Fez at the end of the episode. Like we get an inkling of why he isn't there, why he didn't make it. What did Custer do?
I think the assumption is that Fez is dead, but there's a million different ways that it could go.
Right.
Could be Fez dead, could be Fez in jail, could be Ashtray dead.
Could be Custer dead.
Could be Custer dead. Could be anything. So we'll have to wait until next episode to find out.
Could be Flat Tire.
Ultimately, he's not at the play, and Lexie keeps looking over throughout the show. And so we've got that going on. There's not much to talk about because it's not resolved, so we'll just have to wait until next week, but just wanted to mention it. What do you think this episode does for Lexie's character? Like, do you feel like you know her better now? Do you feel like you know her the same? Do you feel like things were illuminated about her.
I feel like she actually like gets a character now, and like we get to see like her like perspective on all this jazz that's going on. But like I think, you know, again, like she's basically like a narrator, but to the other characters in the show as opposed to the audience. Like I really think like what this has happened is it lets like the other characters in the show know how like the world perceives them.
While I'm really happy that we got to see this episode because it is a good episode and I like everything that's in it, I do feel like I understood Lexie's perspective on like her sister specifically. Right. Like you could always tell just by the way that she looks at Cassie and by the way she reacts to Cassie how she feels about Cassie. So I didn't feel like that was all that illuminating. But all season long, well, the whole series, I really like her talking about her reaction to Rue's drug addiction and how that messed her up. And I think in this episode, particularly when she talks about how as they grew apart, she became less confident in herself because Rue was the one person that made her like feel confident in being a loser or being like uncool.
That's like the other thought I had is like, it was because like we get told from like the first episode of the show that like this was her like best friend growing up. And it was like nice to see like, oh, they actually were friends and like real close at like the onset of their lives, and like seeing how them growing apart has like impacted them. Yeah,
I thought that was all super illuminating and very sweet. And I wonder what Rue's reaction is going to be to that, whether she's going to, well, actually, here's another question. What do you think like everyone's reaction is going to be to this? Like not the character specifically, but I mean like the show. Like, are we going to spend half an episode next week reacting to it and then season 3 starts and it's just like, hey, remember the play?
That's the thing. It's like, look, if you know, Kenny went out there and put on a play about our lives, like it was like spilling tea and shit. Yeah. Like there would be reactions other than just one day.
There would be consequences, Kenny.
Consequences.
But no, I mean, I just wonder if like, I wonder how lasting this will be. Cause I feel like what we saw in the play, except for the gay dance scene at the end, except for that, none of it was like truly damning, which is what I was expecting this play to be. I thought it was all going to be like full tea, but instead it's sort of like a, I don't know, like a half tea.
I feel like it's more like,
it's just true.
It's true, but like in like a sweet way too.
It seems productive and helpful, honestly.
It's like, I don't like, she's even talking about like I really like the scene with her and Maddie, when she's talking about how like she didn't really like Maddie at first, but then like she got to know her, and like they have that sweet moment where Maddie's like, everyone's stupid. You just got to like have confidence and no one knows if it's real or not. Like, I don't know. I felt like most of the scenes in this were like sweet and productive. Like you said, like she wasn't tearing anyone down really until that Nate scene.
Right. Let's jump into the Nate scene. It is funny.
It's funny. It's also
outing.
It's also outing, and it's also
public humiliation.
There's a very strong argument to be made that it's extremely homophobic.
Yeah, and for the first time in the entire series, Nate is correct when he's like storming out. He's like, "That's so homophobic." So I think it can exist as two things because it's you know, the show knows what it's doing. It is a very funny scene, and like if it's just. But it is also homophobic because the joke is like, look at these gay guys.
Right. Well, especially if like, I can't remember if Lexie knows that Nate has, you know, a complicated sexuality or not. I don't know if she knows about those dick pics all on his phone, which I kind of feel like she does because Cassie knew about it and apparently Cassie told everyone. Yeah. So I don't know if like that is the case, then it's definitely homophobic.
Yeah. It's like, look at these gay football players. Isn't it funny how gay football players are? And like the production of it is what's like so funny. Like the theatricality of it is what's so funny, and how intense and also just a note on the show itself. It seems like quite a detour narratively. So I don't know about that. Yeah. But yeah, Nate gets up. I was wondering if he was going to get up or not.
And like everyone knows that this character's supposed to be him because he has the same goddamn birthmark on his head.
Right. And so I kind of was waiting for more eyes to turn. And then Cassie runs after him and he darts out. So I kind of hope he's deeply rageful in the finale. I hope that he goes AWOL.
Yeah.
I hope he goes in berserker mode.
He goes further than Nate has ever gone before.
Which would be very far.
It'd be extremely far.
The actual production of that dance number, though, was incredible.
Yeah.
So much fun. Our guy Ethan gets to just have a ball, and the audience is having fun. And I think one thing I like is how the audience grows to like the show over the course of the duration. At first, like, you hear somebody in the audience be like, oh, that's cool, like when they drop the sign. And then by the end, they're like really cheering and applauding and standing ovation for the dance number, which, you know, if any high school did a dance number like that, I guess two things. If any high school did a dance number like that, the show would get shut down immediately. But also it would get a standing ovation because it was so well done.
They got dudes doing like pretend cum shots on each other in this. Like, god damn.
Now I'm worried about the stage too, because they were shooting some water at each other.
Oh man.
They're gonna need to mop that up, otherwise someone's gonna slip.
We know a thing or two about water ruining a stage.
We know a thing or two about building pools on top of stages. Other small moments for you. What else stood out to you?
There was that weird like dream sequence where Nate gets fucked by his dad.
Oh yeah. He often dreams about Jules. Mm-hmm. He often dreams about Cassie and Maddie, and he often dreams about his dad, and they all sort of combine into like
one dream in this one.
Yeah, and so I wonder when we're gonna get the meat of the crab, you know, with this one. Like if he's
meat of the crab, I haven't heard that one before. I like it because like when you in a crab, you got to go through all those layers to get in there,
right?
And then you suck out the crab.
Because right now it's just sort of evocative of like these ideas, and it makes you just ask questions and stuff. But I wonder if in episode 8 or if it's gonna be in season 3 that like he has a come to Jesus moment where he realizes what it is that he is searching for or attracted to or what this is.
Yeah, it's just the Elliot scene from the interrogation. Whereas I don't want to put a label on it.
Yeah. How much? Well, actually, I have one more thing. This is such a nitpick.
Okay.
But in the beginning, when they do the overture, and it says overture, that pissed me off.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
The guy don't know what an overture is, Sam Levinson. It made me think of a lovely movie called Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. He just directed Licorice Pizza. And that movie has an overture. It also has, I think it happens like 3 times throughout the movie, that there's just music playing and colors just appear on the screen. And the colors sort of wave in and out and different textures and stuff just appear on the screen. And you're watching it and you're like, what am I watching? What is this? But what it is an overture,
right?
And it's giving you a visual overture as well as a musical one, and just sort of giving you the emotion of like what's to come, and just like setting you into the scene, which is what the overture is supposed to do. And so I just wish that they didn't put a title over it. That's all.
Yeah,
like allow me to just sit here for a minute and just listen to some music and look at this little bird thing, and just sort of work my way into the movie or into the show.
Sometimes like shows assume their audiences are like fucking stupid. Like, we can figure out what an overture is. Like, you don't need to, like, flat out tell us that this is the overture. You don't need to hold our hand the whole way along.
And even if you don't get what that was, you'll go online and read, and it's like, oh, they did it. It's just like an overture in theater. And you'll be like, oh, that's so smart. But instead, it's like, you just take it as it is.
There are some stupid-ass people who watch this show, so maybe I shouldn't assume.
Hey, that's true. That's true. But if they listen, we think you're smart.
You're really smart if you listen to this, and I love you. Please leave a like and a comment.
How much of the final episode of the season, next week's episode, is going to be the play, and how much is going to be the reaction, do you think?
Oof. I think, I don't know, because it seems like Cassie's going to do some shit. Like, she seems real mad. She's going to, like, fucking bum rush the stage or something like that. So, I would say at least 30, or at least, I was about to say 30%. I meant 30 minutes, half the episode. I think half the episode is going to be the play.
Okay.
Just about 40 to 50% of the episode's the play.
Do you think it concludes peacefully, or do you think someone stops the show?
I don't think this is going to end well.
And what do you think is the fate of Fez, Ashtray, and Custer?
I always presumed that, like, Fez was going to die at the end of the season, but by way of Lori, the drug lord lady. I don't know. I feel like the cops are going to show up or something.
Because I don't think that the show is above killing a kid.
I don't either. if there's anything I know about this show, is that I can't predict what's going to happen because I don't even think they sometimes know what's going to go on in this show.
All I know is that I hope everybody makes it out okay.
Yeah, I certainly do.
And I hope that Fez makes it to the end of the show.
I hope he gets to see Lexie's play.
Overall, a very good episode. I look forward to the finale. I think the second half of the season was much stronger than the first half. And I'm happy to say that. And then that'll be it. That'll be the end of our season 2 Euphoria recaps until season 3.
Yeah, and we got a lot of other stuff on this channel here. Please click on it.
All right. Thank you for listening. Have a nice week.